There's a type of woman out there. She walks with confidence, speaks with certainty, thinks she's in control. She believes men admire her, envy her, respect her. But the truth? She has no real power, no real value. People tolerate her, but don't admire her. Men use her, but don't cherish her. She gets attention, but never respect. And the worst part? She doesn't even realize it. She lives in a delusion, thinking she's ahead of the game when in reality she's losing, badly. She gets played, she gets manipulated, she gets left behind, again and again. And instead of learning, she repeats the same mistakes, blaming the world while refusing to look in the mirror. If you don't recognize these signs, you might fall for her lies, get trapped in her chaos, or even worse, become just like her. But today, that changes. Because in this video, I'm going to expose the 6 undeniable signs of a weak woman, the kind of woman who will destroy herself and anyone foolish enough to stay in her life. So listen carefully. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot, outsmart, and avoid a weak woman. Welcome to Stoic Spirit, the channel that makes you stronger, smarter, and untouchable. Let's get started. Sign number 1. She lets her emotions control her. A weak woman is ruled by emotions. She doesn't think, she reacts. Impulsively, recklessly, destructively. Every emotion consumes her, clouding her judgment, making her unpredictable. And the worst part? She doesn't even realize it. She calls it passion. She calls it being real. But in reality, she's out of control. When she's angry, she lashes out like a child throwing a tantrum. She screams, she hurls insults, she breaks things, she makes a scene. Not because it solves anything, but because she's desperate to feel in control. But real control? Real control is calm. A weak woman doesn't understand this. Instead, she self-destructs, burning bridges, pushing people away, and making enemies out of those who once cared. When she's sad, she spirals. She makes reckless decisions, trying to numb the pain in all the wrong ways. Shopping sprees she can't afford, drinking herself into oblivion, running back to toxic men who never respected her. She convinces herself that she's just living in the moment, but what she's really doing is running. Running from responsibility, from self-awareness, from personal growth. She lets pain define her instead of using it to become stronger. And when she's hurt, she doesn't handle it with grace. She doesn't reflect, doesn't learn, doesn't grow. Instead, she plots revenge. She plays mind games, trying to make others feel as small as she feels inside. She posts cryptic messages online, hoping someone will care enough to chase after her. She uses manipulation, jealousy, and drama to feel important. But here's what she doesn't understand. Dignity is silent. Strength is silent. Power is silent. A woman who can't control her emotions will never control her life. She will always be ruled by impulse, always be a prisoner to her own instability. She will push away good men, ruin friendships, and destroy every opportunity that requires discipline, patience, and self-respect. A woman of value? She's different. She feels everything but reacts to nothing. She doesn't let emotions dictate her actions. She stays composed under pressure, calm in the face of chaos. She doesn't need to scream to be heard. Her silence speaks louder than a weak woman's outbursts. She doesn't seek revenge because her success is the only revenge that matters. She understands that emotional control is the foundation of personal power. If she wants to be respected, if she wants to be admired, if she wants to be untouchable, she must master herself. Because discipline is strength and self-control is power. And without them, she will always be at the mercy of the world around her. But emotional instability isn't the only weakness that holds women back. There's another, more subtle flaw, one that may seem harmless at first, but is just as destructive: the constant need for validation. And if you don't recognize this in yourself, it could be controlling you more than you realize. Sign number 2. She needs constant validation. A weak woman's self-worth isn't built from within, it's borrowed, it's fragile. It depends entirely on the opinions of others. She needs validation like an addict needs a fix. If nobody is watching, she feels invisible, like she doesn't even exist. That's why she overshares every detail of her life online. She doesn't post because she wants to share something meaningful. She posts because she's desperate to be seen. She needs strangers to tell her she's beautiful, interesting, important, because deep down, She doesn't believe it herself. She craves attention, and when she doesn't get it, she starts to panic. She takes 100 pictures just to post one, obsessing over angles, filters, details. Her image matters more than who she really is. She edits, she manipulates, she hides behind perfection. And what's worse? It's not even for herself. It's for strangers who don't know her, don't care about her, and will forget her the moment she stops posting. She doesn't know who she is, because her identity isn't hers. It's a reflection of what gets the most attention. One day, she's a free spirit. The next, she's a boss babe. The next, she's deeply spiritual. She changes her opinions, her style, her entire personality, just to fit into whatever trend is getting the most likes. Because at her core, she has no solid foundation. She is not her own person. She is a puppet, controlled by the approval of others. But a strong woman, she doesn't chase validation. She doesn't beg for attention. She doesn't need applause to know she's valuable. She naturally attracts respect, not because she seeks it, but because she is genuine, secure, and self-sufficient. She posts when she wants to, not because she needs to. She speaks with purpose, not for attention. She doesn't let trends define her, because she sets her own standards. She doesn't need social media to validate her beauty, her worth, or her success, because she validates herself. If a woman measures her worth by how many people notice her, she's already lost. Because the moment the attention fades, so does her sense of self. A woman of value doesn't live to impress. She lives to inspire. She builds herself from the inside out, not the outside in. And that's the difference. But what happens when a woman has no standards for herself? When she settles for anything and anyone just to avoid being alone, that's when the real damage begins. And this is where we uncover the next undeniable sign of a weak woman. Sign number 3, she has no standards for herself. A weak woman will accept anything as long as she doesn't have to be alone. She fears solitude more than she fears disrespect. And because of that, she allows herself to be treated like an option instead of a priority. She stays with men who don't respect her, not because she thinks they'll change, but because deep down, she doesn't believe she deserves better. But ask yourself, why would anyone else value you if you don't value yourself? She tolerates lies, infidelity, and disrespect, convincing herself that it's just how relationships are, or that all men are the same. But the truth? She settles because she lacks the courage to walk away. She keeps toxic friendships, surrounding herself with people who gossip, betray, and drain her energy. She stays in circles where competition, jealousy, and drama are the norm. She listens to friends who encourage her worst behaviors instead of calling her out when she's wrong. Why? Because she doesn't want to be challenged. She would rather stay comfortable in a toxic environment than risk stepping out into the unknown. She engages in behaviors she secretly despises. She knows better, but she doesn't do better. She parties with people she doesn't respect, seeks validation in places she doesn't belong, and compromises her values just to fit in. She wears masks, switching personalities depending on who she's around. She becomes whatever she thinks will get her the most approval, and over time, she loses any sense of who she truly is. She says she wants a good man, but she chases the worst ones. She claims she wants love, but she runs after men who use her, disrespect her, and discard her when they're done. She claims she wants commitment, but she entertains men who have made it clear they don't want anything serious. She mistakes drama for passion, she confuses chaos with excitement, and she ignores the men who actually treat her well because she equates stability with boredom. She says she wants a better life, but she does nothing to change it. She dreams big, but acts small. She talks about what she deserves, but refuses to put in the work to earn it. She complains about her job, but never improves her skills. She hates her lifestyle, but refuses to discipline herself. She wants to be admired, but doesn't develop any qualities worth admiring. A woman of value knows when to say no. She doesn't settle for toxic relationships out of fear of being alone. She understands that solitude is better than being surrounded by the wrong people. She doesn't tolerate mediocrity because she knows that what she accepts is what she'll get. She holds herself to a higher standard even when it's difficult. She doesn't beg for attention. She doesn't lower her standards for validation. She doesn't stay in places where she isn't valued. She walks away from anything that doesn't align with the life she's building. And because of that, she commands respect, not just from others, but from herself. If a woman allows herself to be treated like an option, she will never be seen as a priority. If she allows people to disrespect her, they will never respect her. If she accepts less than she deserves, she will never get what she truly wants. A woman of value doesn't just hope for better, she demands it. She doesn't just talk about what she wants, she becomes the kind of woman who attracts it. But here's the real question. When things go wrong, does she take responsibility? Or does she point fingers, make excuses, and play the victim? Because a woman who refuses to own her mistakes will never be able to fix them. And that brings us to the next undeniable sign of weakness. Sign number 4. She blames everyone else for her problems. A weak woman never takes responsibility for her own life. If things go wrong, it's never her fault. If she's single, men are trash. If she's broke, the system is unfair. If she fails, it's because someone else sabotaged her. She is a professional victim, always pointing fingers, always finding excuses, always looking for someone to blame. She thinks the world is against her, that nothing is her fault, just bad luck, bad circumstances, bad people. If a relationship ends, she's the victim. Never mind if she was toxic, insecure, or refused to grow, it's always the man's fault. He didn't appreciate her. He didn't love her enough. If she's struggling financially, it's because the system is rigged. It's because society is unfair. It's because other people had privileges she didn't have. It's never because she made poor financial decisions, lacked discipline, or refused to develop new skills. If she's unhappy, it's because life is hard. It's because people are cruel. It's because no one understands her. But here's the truth. Every decision you've ever made has led to the life you have today. And a weak woman refuses to accept that, because accepting responsibility would mean admitting she has control over her life. And that terrifies her. Because if she has control, then she has to change. And change requires effort. A strong woman doesn't complain, she finds solutions. If she's single, she doesn't blame men, she asks herself what she can improve. If she's struggling financially, she doesn't blame the system. She finds a way to make herself more valuable. If she fails, she doesn't cry about how unfair life is. She learns, adapts, and tries again. She takes ownership of her choices, her actions, and her outcomes. A weak woman will stay stuck in the same cycles for years, making the same mistakes, blaming the same people, telling the same sob stories. And until she looks in the mirror and realizes that she is the common denominator in all her problems, nothing will change. A strong woman, on the other hand, understands that life doesn't happen to her. It happens because of her. She refuses to be a victim. She refuses to make excuses. She refuses to wait for someone else to fix her life. She takes responsibility. And because of that, she has power. A weak woman? She just keeps making the same mistakes and blaming the world for them. And that's why she will never win. But here's the thing. No one fails alone. The people she surrounds herself with either push her to grow or keep her stuck in the same cycles. And if she's surrounded by the wrong crowd, she will never rise above them. Sign number 5. She surrounds herself with the wrong people. You can tell whether a woman is strong or weak just by looking at the people around her. A weak woman surrounds herself with those who keep her stagnant, those who reinforce her worst habits, those who make her comfortable in her mediocrity. She chooses her friends not based on values, ambition, or integrity, but based on convenience. She clings to people who tell her what she wants to hear, not what she needs to hear. If she surrounds herself with gossipers, liars, and manipulators, she becomes one of them. She indulges in drama, feeds off negativity, and wastes time talking about other people instead of building herself up. She thrives in an environment where people backstab, tear each other down, and live off petty rivalries. Because deep down, she is just like them. She enjoys the toxicity because it distracts her from having to look in the mirror. If she keeps company with people who have no ambition, no discipline, no morals, then she will never grow beyond them. She will mirror their habits, their mindset, their failures. She will continue to make excuses, continue to stay small, continue to avoid accountability, because the people around her make her feel like that's okay. If she only associates with people who always agree with her, who never challenge her, who never call her out when she's wrong, she will never evolve. She will believe she is always right, even when she is making the worst decisions for her life. She will mistake blind support for loyalty, not realizing that true loyalty is pushing someone toward greatness, not enabling their downfall. A woman of value? She is selective. She chooses her circle carefully. She surrounds herself with people who elevate her, people who challenge her, people who push her to be better, stronger, wiser. She values friends who hold her accountable, even when it's uncomfortable. She doesn't fear being corrected because she knows that true growth requires honesty. She understands that the people she spends time with shape her mindset, her habits, her future. A weak woman, she only seeks comfort, not growth. She surrounds herself with enablers, not mentors. She would rather be celebrated in mediocrity than challenged toward excellence. And because of that, she stays stuck, repeating the same mistakes, reinforcing the same bad habits, and wondering why her life never changes. A strong woman knows, you are the average of the people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. But even with the right people around her, there's one more thing that separates the weak from the strong: the ability to learn from mistakes. Because if she keeps making the same choices and expecting different results, she's not just weak, she's doomed to fail. Sign number 6, she never learns from her mistakes. The biggest sign of a weak woman? She keeps repeating the same mistakes over and over again. She doesn't learn, she doesn't adapt, she doesn't evolve. She stays trapped in the same cycles, the same toxic patterns, the same self-destructive behaviors, year after year, relationship after relationship, mistake after mistake. She keeps dating the same toxic men, she falls for the same lies, she ignores the red flags. She swears she's learned her lesson, but the moment a new man with the same traits enters her life, she falls right back into the trap. She mistakes familiarity for love. She confuses attraction with attachment. And instead of breaking the cycle, she keeps repeating it, getting hurt, getting used, getting discarded. She keeps spending money on things that don't matter. She knows she should save. She knows she should invest. She knows she should be smarter with her finances. But she can't help herself. She spends impulsively, wastes money on trends, on temporary highs, on things that make her feel good in the moment, but leave her broke in the long run. And when she's struggling financially, she blames the system, the economy, her bad luck, never her own decisions. She keeps making the same self-destructive choices. Whether it's her health, her career, her relationships, or her mindset, she refuses to grow. She convinces herself that things will change without actually changing anything. She hopes for better outcomes while repeating the same bad behaviors. She expects different results without taking different actions. A smart woman makes a mistake once, maybe twice, but she learns. She adapts. She adjusts her course. She refuses to let history repeat itself. A weak woman, she stays in the same cycle forever. But here's the real question. How many times will you repeat the same mistakes before you finally decide to break free? She doesn't take accountability, so she doesn't improve. She doesn't learn the lessons life is trying to teach her, so she keeps failing the same tests. And that's why she remains miserable. A strong woman knows that life rewards those who learn, grow, and evolve. She understands that failure is only permanent if you refuse to learn from it. She refuses to stay stuck in the past. She refuses to let old mistakes define her future. She makes a choice every day to be better, to be wiser, to be stronger. A weak woman, she waits for life to change while repeating the same patterns. And that's why her life never gets better. Now you know the difference between a strong woman and a weak one. You've seen the signs, you've recognized the patterns, and maybe, just maybe, you've realized something about yourself or the people around you. But here's the thing. Knowledge means nothing without action. Knowing what makes a woman weak doesn't make you strong. What makes you strong is what you do next. Strength is a choice. Growth is a choice. Changing your life, leveling up, becoming the kind of person who commands respect and refuses to settle for mediocrity. It's all a choice. And every single day, you're either choosing to become stronger or choosing to stay the same. Most people, they stay the same. They hear the truth, but they don't act on it. They recognize their flaws, but they don't fix them. They see the problem, but they keep making the same mistakes. Because change is uncomfortable, and most people would rather stay weak than go through the pain of becoming strong. But you're here. You made it to the end of this video. That means you're not like most people. That means you're ready for something more. So here's my challenge to you. Make the choice. Don't just watch this video and move on. Don't just nod along and then go back to the same patterns. Decide right now that you will demand more from yourself, that you will raise your standards, that you will stop making excuses, that you will stop chasing validation, stop repeating past mistakes, stop surrounding yourself with people who hold you back. And if this video made you think, even for a second, then you owe yourself one thing. Hit that like button. Not for me, not for the algorithm, but for yourself. Because engaging with content like this is a sign that you're serious about growth. Because content like this, it's not for everyone. It's not for the weak. It's not for the people who want to stay comfortable in their excuses. It's for those who want to level up. For those who want to become stronger, smarter, and unshakable. And if you're one of them, then subscribe right now. Because this is just the beginning. Thank you for watching Stoic Spirit. Now go out there and make the choice.